everyone. Welcome. We're excited to talk to you today about the transition between Ivy to Houzz Pro and what new features we have to offer you in Houzz Pro. I'm Abby. I'm on the product marketing team here at Houzz. My past life was in interior design and was actually an Ivy early adopter, so I know Ivy pretty well. And we're also here today with Chloe. Chloe, I'll let you introduce yourself as well.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining and watching. Yes, my name is Chloe. I'm the Senior Director who oversees all of our client success teams. I've been with Houzz Ivy for about 10 years, so know both sides of the business really, really well. Looking forward to kind of explaining to you guys all the benefits of making the move over to Houzz Pro and giving you a quick demonstration of all the wonderful things that we've been working on.
Awesome. Yes, you've probably seen Chloe peep in and out of the Facebook group. If you're a member of that, she's always there ready to respond and answer your questions. But we'll go ahead and kick things off and we'll dive into a little bit of an overview and take a look at some of the features that are new for you as you switch from Ivy to Houzz Pro. Chloe, I will let you take it away.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So yes, as you can see, we've been so busy working on many things in Houzz Pro, and a lot of the feedback actually came from members of our Ivy community who help kind of give the foundation of our incredible product. So thank you to all of you for always sharing such wonderful ideas. But what you'll see on the screen here is anything in green is a brand new feature that Houzz Pro has that Ivy does not have today. So lots of wonderful things that you could benefit from having a CRM, which is our client relationship management tool. You can import all of your leads, whether from Houzz or from another medium. Make sure you're staying organized with how you're contacting that pipeline. We also have some incredible tools for sharing your vision. So whether that be the long-awaited mood boards that our Ivies had been requesting or our incredible power behind our 3D tools, I'm going to show you that today. But as you can see, there's many, many more. And then, of course, we've upgraded some of the tried and true features. Some of those would be that we've made some really great updates to our document experience. So having things like autosave, having electronic signatures. I'm going to show you a bit about that today. We've also spent a lot of time with our accounting partners perfecting the integration with QuickBooks Online. So lots of wonderful things. In addition to that, you'll see a couple little lock icons on here, but we have some more features that are available in kind of our premium plan called Custom, that if you were interested, you could choose to decide to purchase because it's got some really great tools and we're constantly improving another layer of Houzz Pro. So lots to show you today. So with all that being said, we're going to dive right in so I can kind of explain to you what's going to happen. So let me get into my demo account and we'll take a look here.
Perfect. Thank you, Chloe.
Yeah. Okay, that should be coming through okay on your side. And what I want to start off with is this is just the main project screen of Houzz Pro. So if you are currently on Ivy and you're deciding to make the switch to Houzz Pro, this is where you're going to be spending a lot of your time, right? The one difference that I'm going to call out is if you make the move to Houzz Pro, you're going to see a column here that will say new experience. And that's going to be labeled with a yes once you create your first new project within Houzz. But the great news about deciding to make the move is you don't have to wait. So if you're in the middle of some projects right now that you're working on Ivy, one of the things that I really love that our development and engineering team did is your current Ivy projects stay exactly the same. So it's basically looking at Ivy in a Houzz Pro picture frame, and you can click onto your existing projects. All your information carries over seamlessly. So whether that be documents, your curated library, what you've been clipping over the years, your client information, all of it comes over. And the click path to find it is also just the same. So there's virtually no learning curve for your existing projects being moved into our system. The magic happens and the newness starts again when you create a new project on Houzz Pro. And that's where you're going to see that label of new experience. And that's what I'm going to spend some time showing you today and giving you a little bit of a dive on what that would look like for you. So as I open up one of my demo projects, another thing that I want to point out to you is the support that we have when moving over to Houzz. So I know you're going to run in and have some questions from time to time, which we are absolutely here to help. So one of the best things about moving over to Houzz Pro is not just the features, but you also have access to our support team via chat. So we are here to help answer your questions with this green little icon. You can talk to our expert team at any time. Many of them actually worked on Ivy, and you may actually already know them, but they're always happy to chat with you. You can share screenshots, share what you're looking at and working on. They will be happy to help you there. We also have a lot of really wonderful resources over on the left-hand side of my screen. There's a little question mark icon here. So whether you need to give us a phone call or you want to check out our amazing help center, you need any help, that question mark icon over on the left will be your best friend. So lots of great resources to help get you started and get you comfortable with the tools that you would have access to. Okay. So to get us started, you'll see over on the left-hand side, many of the features that we kind of did that high-level overview of, right? But we're going to spend some time on, of course, is what's the tried and true source of truth for all of you is proposals. So as I mentioned, our document experience got a bit of a facelift on Houzz. And there's a variety of ways to get started when creating a new proposal. So you can create one from scratch. So that's basically just starting with a blank canvas, adding in any products that you've clipped or loading in and creating items and services. You can also start with one of our templates. But let's go ahead and just take a look at one example that I have so I can point out some of the new features that we have. So the one thing that I love about the proposals within Houzz and any documents, whether it's purchase orders, invoices, you name it, it's basically anything that you see on the screen here, you can edit. You can make it your own. So if you have different naming conventions, if you want to title them differently, if you want to show specific information or hide it or add in custom fields like who the project manager will be or their contact, you can do that. So there's lots of control over the document itself and the visibility that you would like it to have on just these settings here up at the top. And of course, down below, this is where you would add in your items. So on the right-hand side of my screen, you can see all the items that I have clipped or curated within my library. And again, as a reminder, those are going to come over from Ivy for you. So you don't have to worry about re-adding them on. So in my items, I can, of course, just simply add one over to the left and it will populate in. I have this one currently organized by category, so I can change that and organize it by room or by section. You'll see here that these fields, I can also move, so I could reorganize them on the columns or rows if I want. And you can also see that if I click on these three dots, I can choose to remove it from the table, hide that value from my client. There's a couple different ways to do that. Or I can just hit this customize button in the top right. So it will allow me to, again, toggle anything off that I may not want to show, reorganize as I so choose, and then save that. So it makes it very easy for me to stay organized, build things as I wish. And then the other thing that we can do too is say if you're building like a custom chair or custom sofa, you have a fabric swatch that you need to add in, you have a labor charge that you need to, there's groups, of course, that you can create. And I know that's a great feature that some of our Ivies are leveraging today. So it's a simple way to kind of create a folder where you can have those sub items kind of hide underneath, and you can have that one overall folder for all of the different charges that will make it easy to create those purchase orders for you. So lots of great simple tools that make it very easy to get started. And of course, again, you can save these as a template and you can, of course, duplicate, edit them. You can simply create invoices and purchase orders. Even if you wanted to create an invoice from just one item, you could do that too. So lots of ways to kind of leverage this tool, make it efficient for you and your business. But if I keep scrolling down, some other call outs that I want to mention, which I think I touched on, that there is auto save. So if you're working on something, don't worry, we're going to save all that work for you. And we also have payment schedules too. So you can schedule your payments. You can save these as a default on all your documents moving forward. You can change the names of them if you want. You can change the payment terms. Yes, of course, we continue to accept online payments, whether ACH or credit cards. You can actually get online payments in as soon as 30 minutes if you so choose. We have instant payouts that you can enable as well. So lots of really great tools to make sure that you're getting your money quickly and on time. If I keep scrolling down, there's some other options to add in files. If I want to rename that, I can, but I can attach any documents here. I can include terms and conditions and memos, which I can also save as a default or as a template for my team to reuse over and over again to really make this a professional looking document. And yes, we have the long awaited electronic signatures that you can enable on your documents as well, and see that very helpful activity stream of what's been going on and who's been looking at your document and when payments were received, et cetera, down towards the bottom. So lots of great stuff within this document experience. But I'm going to pause for a moment and ask you, Abby, am I missing anything critical on proposals that you think I should touch on a little bit more?
No, I think you're doing a great job. Honestly, I think that this proposal becomes like the backbone of your entire project. So all of those items that you're adding onto the proposal once are going to benefit you throughout the project on future features that Chloe's going to talk about in a few minutes. So it's just a really strong starting point for you because you build it once and then you save on that repetitive information. You're not typing SKU numbers in 10 times. If you use that pendant light one time, you can use it again in the future if you'd like. And definitely throughout the course of the project, it saves you a lot of time and a lot of manual data entry, which is fantastic. And just the fact that all that comes over from Ivy to Houzz Pro, it's a huge time savings compared to starting fresh on a platform, because everything's just pulling over from what you've already done and spent your hard-earned time and money to do. So really great things.
Yep, exactly. Thanks, Abby. The other things that I'll just touch on is, like we had mentioned, it's very seamless, right? To get this kind of moving from proposal to invoice to purchase order. You can actually see here that I have some linked documents already because I've converted this over to an invoice and to a purchase order. So I can kind of reference that funnel and see which documents these items are existing on. But it's just in that actions menu, you simply create an invoice and it will carry that information over. Or again, if you want to invoice by a specific line item, like what I did here, you could do that too. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about selections. So of course, proposals are a great source of truth for all of us in this room, but we've been finding that many of our designers actually love what we've kind of revamped from the original room planner that you had on Ivy. So in Houzz Pro, we call this tool selection boards. And this is a great collaboration piece, maybe before you get to actually being on a document. So how you can build these is within selections. You can create these by room if you so choose. I've also seen designers do this by, for example, flooring options or by accessories and furniture. You decide how you want them organized, but you can set a universal budget for the entirety of the project. And each room within it will also have its own budget. So you can stay on track with your client on the choices and selections that they're making. If I go ahead and click into one, this will give you kind of a good idea of some ways that you can leverage this tool. So on here, you'll see that there's not just items that I can choose from as a client, but there's also more of my visual aids. And this kind of becomes now my presentation tool. So maybe if I'm using like a Canva or a PowerPoint presentation, I can choose to use my selection boards instead and keep it all in one place. So I'll give you kind of a quick run through by just scrolling down, and you'll get a glimpse of how I've created different sections for different surfaces, electrical fixtures, plumbing, appliances. So I can organize it in that fashion if I so choose. I can add in additional items. I can add in my 3D floor plans that I've built on Houzz. I can add in mood boards and images and different files. So allows me to, again, really use this as a collaboration tool with my client. I have options to, of course, change different sizes of these tiles. I can set a cover image. I can reorganize them. So I've seen some really, really beautiful ones. But that collaboration with your client, once you share this, you can actually share it on the client dashboard or just share an example of this with your client too with a direct link. But that allows you to comment back and forth if you enable that permission, where your client can ask you questions and say, for example, oh, I really love this knob and this shape, but does it come in more of like a bronzed finish? And then you can tag your procurement team and they can source other options and add them on here, where I can keep track of the approvals, that comment history, and I really have a place to go back to so I can reference throughout the project. But it allows my client to see as they're making decisions, if I price in this way, what's that's going to do with the budget over in the top right. And once I have all those selections made, this is just another way that I could create a proposal or an invoice. I could take all of those selections that they have made and convert them over, which I've already done on this one. But that would allow you to kind of have another way to get started with creating your documents and collaborate with your clients. Okay, Abby, did I miss anything in particular on selections that would be helpful to kind of touch on?
Yeah, I think the only other thing that I would point out, in the spirit of saving time and duplicating efforts. So while design is very unique in nature for every project, sometimes there are things that you might want to repeat, right? So we actually have the functionality to duplicate like sections to other projects or entire boards. So maybe there's a plumbing board that worked really well, or a tile section that worked really well on one house and you want to use it on a future one. You can actually quickly click those three dots and duplicate it to another project. So again, there's ways to save and kind of template the process a little bit to make your life easier.
Yes, exactly. Great call out. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. You can absolutely copy them over to different projects and make it a lot easier on you. Okay, so talked about that. Now I think what I want to go into is showing you a little bit of our selections tracker. So not only is it, again, a really great like collaboration tool for you and your clients and your team, but I hear all the time that obviously there's so many pieces within a project. And I know in Ivy, there's a tracker right now that you guys have on your projects, but we've, again, given it a bit of a facelift and given it a lot of improvements. So in Ivy, for example, I know you have to toggle between different pages down at the bottom of your screen. And you might have like 15 pages of different items and services. Now within Houzz Pro, it's one continuous feed. And the value behind that is actually that I can, of course, create different filters, and I can organize this in a way where I can see all the information that I need to see in that moment. So if I only want to see the items that I still have pending or by certain categories, I can, again, sort it in that manner. We've created some different like default views for you as well. So whether you be in a planning stage and you want to know what the document status is of all these items and if they're on specific documents. Okay, so this one's on a proposal, but I haven't yet created an invoice, or these ones aren't attached to a document yet. That will help keep me organized. There's also, of course, the financial side. So I can easily see my purchase cost versus my selling price versus my markup. Lots of great options. And then there's procurement. So if I need to start tracking for order when this ship date, receive date, et cetera, is, all that is available for me. So I kind of like to think about this. It's almost like a very intuitive Google sheet where I have a lot of ways to customize and filter. So what I mean by that too is you can turn a lot of these fields off that maybe you don't need. You can toggle them on, you can reorder them, and you can add custom fields. So lots of options here that will allow you to kind of keep it organized in the manner that you so choose. I've also seen some designers actually kind of simplify the view, for example, on the procurement side, and send a copy over to their client or to the project manager so they know like the delivery dates and they know when items are coming over. So they can be on the lookout for them. But this is, again, a very, very helpful tool for sure, but got a nice facelift from the experience that you have in Ivy today. Okay, Abby, anything else that you'd mention on the selections tracker that would be valuable?
Sure. Yeah, I have a couple of things. So just talking about procurement specifically, we have the order status field so that you can fill in order tracking. But a way to really expedite that is to organize it by vendor. So maybe one vendor shipped everything at once, all your stuff beforehand is coming. You can kind of quickly go down the line and update things very quickly. So it doesn't have to be an inundating process to really update those things. You can organize it, see what you need to see, and quickly update those statuses, as well as create your own custom statuses there, which is really nice. But this can be a fantastic transition into the exports that the selections tracker does. So if you did need to send a specific list of products that you need to purchase to maybe a vendor who doesn't do POs, you can actually do that right here on the selections tracker. So just organize, you can change the organization and then change the filter to just filter by vendor and see the specific vendor and then export out maybe like an FF&E schedule is a great example of all the details for that vendor, what they need to know for this project, what they need to order for you. And then you guys can kind of communicate back and forth about the project. But it's a really, really, really flexible tool so that you can kind of see exactly what you need to see. You know, I see a lot of designers sharing selections with contractors this way. You know, they'll filter and organize and view exactly what they need to see and then export it as an FF&E PDF and send that to their contractor to say, hey, here's what you need to know about for this project. Maybe there's technical drawings and things to go with it, but it gives them that like spec sheet essentially of everything that they need to know. And again, that started all the way at the proposal. So all of this data is feeding all the way through. You're not making spreadsheets and mood boards and other documentation in 10 different places. You're doing it all in one place, which is really beautiful and saves a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably one of our most popular tools from Ivies coming over that they're really loving is this tool in particular. So lots of great stuff in here. Next, though, I do want to transition to kind of giving you guys some samples and some ideas of all the visual tools that we have within Houzz, which is another very popular thing that our Ivies were very excited about. So I'm going to jump in and kind of show you some of the samples that I have on the 3D tool. But I want to start off with just kind of explaining how you can also get started with 3D. So if you haven't seen any of our like demonstrations or videos before, I think a lot of the power of 3D can come from your mobile device, right? So when you're out in your client's home, you have a way to actually scan their home. So depending on if you have an Android or an iOS device, you can scan in different ways. But one thing in particular that I think our designers really love is if you have a later version of an iOS device, which I'll show you in a minute, they're equipped with LiDAR functionality. So let me go ahead and just kind of quickly show you, since I'm not connected to my phone, what this would look like. But I can go out with like an iPad as an example, and I can kind of calibrate the room here, and it will start picking up the furniture, the walls, the windows, and like the structural components. So I'm not having to take out a tape measure to get started. So once I kind of take this scan, it will go back into my computer, and then I can start making the changes in the design elements of knocking down the walls and changing out the window for a sliding glass door and adding in the furnishings. Very, very fun tool. But of course, there's other ways to get started. So perhaps maybe you have an architectural plan and you want to upload that 2D plan, and then you want us to build up the walls and render it for you. You simply can just upload the file, and then we're going to convert that for you. So lots of ways to get started with just the foundation of your 3D plan before you start making some changes and some edits to it. Let me give you some samples of what some of these 3D floor plans look like. So let's just dive into one, and we'll populate here in a moment. And I will show you how you not only just have a 2D plan, but you also have, of course, the option to do a dollhouse view and to do a walkthrough as well. So it can kind of give you some different ideas here. I can take the items that I can source from Houzz.com. We also have a lot of different generic products over on the right, where I can apply products, whether it be from just general decor to kitchen products to lighting. And then when I'm adding in a generic product, I can also add in a finish to that product. So if I want to change the dimensions of it, add a finish, even add like something like handles and the finish of those handles, I can do that. So lots of different ways that I can make this really come to life for my client, and it's a great selling tool. Like I mentioned, you can change wall colors. We have a different library of Sherwin-Williams colors and Benjamin Moore. We also have different flooring options that you can add in and really, again, just make it look very realistic to your client. And with that, obviously these look great, but we do, of course, have the ability to generate photorealistic images that you can also share with your client. When you generate a photorealistic image, what's going to happen is you kind of just change the orientation and the view of what you'd like to snap. And it's going to add like the shadowing and the visual components to really make something like that come to life. I have some samples that I'll just show you quickly because I do think it's a very powerful way to make those 3D floor plans look even better. When I'm generating one, they'll save into my files and photos on Houzz. Actually, let me go into a different project and I will show you. I have them saved. Okay, so it's going to go into my files and photos section. And from here, I'll have a folder for my 3D renderings. And you can kind of actually see, this is a snap of that room that we were just looking at. So you can see it can make it become even more powerful for them to understand how your design elements are going to change their space. All right, if I go back into 3D, there's a couple other pieces that I wanted to point out. So if I go back in here, there is also some options from this side to have multiple floors. So if you are working on like a first, second, all the way up to 6 floors, you can add in multiple floors as well. I've actually seen designers also use this as different versions. So maybe they can't decide between going really modern or looking at something a little bit more traditional. You can kind of give them 2 options to look at and visualize. And another thing that actually is very recent to Houzz that I think a lot of designers are going to be excited about, on the plan that we have our Ivies move over to, you get a couple products that you can actually, that you've clipped from furniture and accessories that you can convert into 3D. So this was something that people were very, very passionate about. We're leveraging AI to convert these products over. But I can take something from my library and I can then add on a mask and I can move this image into 3D to generate in my space. So it's a really exciting, very cool tool. It's pretty easy to use. Works best on like a white background. It works best again on furniture and accessories. So I can just choose all the details and then it will start selecting it for me. So it actually looks like I grabbed that. So if I click generate product, it will take a minute and it will start working on it. But you can see like I have one chair in here that I've actually generated in 3D that was clipped. So ways that I can start making things look a little bit more realistic. But that one will just take a minute and it will be up and ready to go in a few short seconds. So lots of fun ways to get started here. Okay. What else am I missing? Over on the right, we talked about adding in generic products. There's also structures for ceilings, windows, doors, etc. I mentioned that you can source from our Houzz marketplace as well. This is how you can upload those 2D plans, which we talked about, taking those photorealistic images. If you wanted to, there is actually even a way to convert what you're adding into your 3D floor plan into a proposal, which is crazy. So another way to get started where you can take all these images from within 3D and convert them over. And you can deselect, of course, things that you don't want to include, but another way to potentially get started, if that's something that you would find value in, that is also there as a tool you can leverage. Okay. All right, Abby, what else?
Yeah, I think you've done a great job, Chloe. Honestly, you know, the 3D tool and the LiDAR capabilities are just absolutely incredible. You know, if you're on a project and you don't have the floor plans, being able to scan that and space plan in what, 5-10 minutes, that's just unmatched, truly. So I just don't want to, I want to emphasize that a lot because it's really amazing for designers. I see a lot of designers doing that. They scan their space really quick. They have a 3D, they have a base floor plan to work off of. And then they can pull in items quickly and say, okay, how big can the sofa be? How big should the rug be? That sort of thing. They can get those answers really quickly instead of spending hours on a job site, measuring and doing all that tedious labor. Numbers are not always every designer's thing. And so this really takes that kind of brain damage piece out of it and makes it really nice. So the 3D tool is really great. Even for people who use AutoCAD and things like that, there's still ways that you can get a lot of value out of our 3D tool.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. Okay. Couple final things that I'll touch on, just to, again, give you a more holistic overview of the things that we offer beyond the tools you've seen already is I will touch on mood boards, because I know that was a very popular request amongst Ivies to have incorporated, and it is something that we do have on Houzz Pro. So I actually have a couple samples. I'm not a designer by any means, so I have some samples of ways like you can skew different images that you're clipping and add the different layers and elements. And you can really make them your own, and you can make them like a template that you reuse over and over again that's branded with your company information. But again, they're very customizable and user-friendly. So if you wanted to add on paint swatches, you can. If you wanted to hide that swatch detail, you can. But then you can also skew this and use it as a wall, as you kind of saw in my other example. But you can add in all those items that you clipped, adding in different images and inspirational pieces, your logo. But we've actually also gotten more sophisticated with some other tools like background removal. So you can see here that actually how you see fit. And then another recent improvement is there's multi-page. So if you want to have multiple pages, you can. You can duplicate them, also save them again as templates, but you can again use this more as like a presentation tool to replace like a PowerPoint or to replace like a Canva, to keep it all in one place. It all talks to each other very nicely. So mood boards are there for you, and you can leverage those and show them again, like in your selections boards, and share them on your client dashboard, and really have a lot of different pieces to help kind of sell that value of working with you in your business. And then finally, another little last thing that I'm going to point out is we do, of course, have a lot of reporting. So you saw the selections tracker is just one option that we have for reporting, but there is a lot of other reports that we've been working diligently on. So you'll have a lot of that under your financials tab, where you'll not only see some of the information like how to connect with QuickBooks Online, which will carry over if you're moving from Ivy and you have it enabled now, but have some like different financing options for clients, etc. But there's a lot of reporting in here that's similar to what we have on Ivy. If you have any current projects in Ivy, you'll actually have a way to generate your same legacy reporting. And if you need to generate anything new, we have lots of those available for you as well. So lots of different functionality and ways to stay more organized and more efficient as a business. All those tools are there for you within Houzz, plus many, many more. So we really look forward to hoping to answer your questions and get you comfortable with making the move. If you are interested, there's actually a variety of ways to do this. And if you have questions, we recommend actually reaching out to ivies@houzz.com. So that is one of the email addresses that I am on, and I am happy to help answer anything that you may have a question about. But for many of our Ivies, what we're doing is actually honoring the pricing that you're paying right now. And we'll be honoring that for at least 2 years. So you'll have plenty of time to really understand the value behind making the move. It's on a very amazing infrastructure and a huge team behind it that's constantly developing and making sure that it's fast, efficient, and user-friendly. So I think you're going to be really delighted if you decide to make the switch.
Yes, thank you guys for being here today. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on the Houzz side. We're excited.
Wonderful. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.